What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nerdy Mark channel. I am Sid the Nerdy Mark, and today I have your review of AEW and NXT. Now, real quick, before we begin, you might be wondering where my Double or Nothing review is. Well, I did do a review for Double or Nothing. It's just not on this channel. It's on the PDP podcast, or the Parsons Daffern podcast. They are, two awesome guys from Arkansas. They're doing some great things for pro wrestling and all that good stuff. They have their own podcast, like I said. I did an episode with them. I did two episodes, actually. I did one for Double or Nothing and one for Money in the Bank. So you can check both of those out. I'll leave the link up here to the episode with Double or Nothing. You can check it out there. You can check out their podcast in the description below. It's good stuff. Of course, it is not safe for work. So if you are at work, please wear headphones and whatnot when listening to it. But it was a good time. I had a lot of fun doing it, so that was cool. Hope I can get to do it again sometime. Another thing is, because of the announcement of the Snyder Cut for Justice League, I am planning to review all the DC movies, in the coming few weeks. So be on the lookout for reviews of that. And on top of that, I do have another idea that I am toying with. Which I'm kind of looking forward to doing. With that in mind, let's kind of dive right into this week's flagship shows, and we'll start, as always, with AEW. We begin Dynamite with the Inner Circle in the parking lot. They're trying to get rid of a bunch of their Stadium Stampede Championship t-shirts because, of course, they lost the Stadium Stampede match. If you didn't watch it, please go watch it. A nice, funny little bit over there with Santana revealing that they ordered a truckload of t-shirts. They're on Pro Wrestling Tees now, so if you want to order yourself a Stadium Stampede Champions t-shirt, go for it. But we do get our first match of the night. We have Matt Hardy teaming up with the Young Bucks to take on Joey Janela and Private Party. Now, Matt Hardy, because of a backstage segment, he reverts back to his first ever gimmick, even before him and Jeff were the Hardy Boys, so that's pretty cool. Matt's ribs are still taped up, Matt Jackson that is, and there's a huge part where Janela falls to the heel side of the crowd. A lot more people in the crowd now, so that's awesome. And then Nick goes for Janela for a super kick, but he inadvertently kicks Blade of Butcher and Blade. Butcher retaliates by beating up on Nick. Matt comes in, saves his brother. They beat up on the Butcher, the Baker, and the Candlestick Maker for a little bit. Get back in the ring. Hardy hits a really cool looking senton to all three of the men in the opposing team, Isaiah, Mark, and Janela. That was really cool. Private Party then hit a double tope on the Bucks, but this injures Mark Quinn's knee. The match had to end pretty quickly when Hardy and the Bucks hit a more bang for your buck onto Janela, I believe. He's the one who takes the pin. After the match, Matt Hardy and Rick Knox help Mark Quinn to the back. Looks like he is legitimately injured, so speedy recovery to Mark Quinn. Hopefully this means that they do something with Isaiah Cassidy. Maybe him and Janela can team up for a little bit. I will be fine with that. Afterwards, Butcher and Baker and Candlestick Maker try to get some sort of retribution for the Bucks attacking them. So they come and beat them up, but we hear the sound of a truck in the background, and two guys drive in, and out pops Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, formerly known as Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson of the Revival. They are now, of course, called FTR. They come in, they look like they're going to attack the Young Bucks, but they go for Butcher and Blade instead, and they even hit a spike pile driver, which is a homage to Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, I believe. And then they hit a Shatter Machine, which I don't think they're calling it the Shatter Machine anymore, but whatever. And then they stare down the Bucks, so it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we're going to get the Young Bucks versus FTR. I'm thinking they're going to challenge Butcher and Blade at Fyter Fest, and then at All Out, we're going to get FTR versus the Young Bucks. That's going to be an awesome match. I cannot wait. And by the way, in case you're wondering, FTR stands for F the rest, like the F word and then the rest. So, that's interesting. They have their t-shirt out now on Pro Wrestling Tees as well. I'm giving all the free promotion today. Pro Wrestling Tees, send me a goddamn check, will ya? Up next, we have Brian Cage squashing a peon while Jon Moxley is on commentary. I almost forgot how good Jon Moxley is on commentary. It's been a while. Like, he did a good job even when he was in WWE and he was on commentary. He was funny. He was charming. I liked it, and he's doing a much better job here. Hashtag what's a Dean Ambrose. Cage comes in and destroys Lee Johnson, and then Taz is on the mic. He puts over Moxley, but says that at Fyter Fest, Cage is going to take the title off of Jon Moxley and says, survive if he lets you, which is awesome. And that got a huge pop out of my buddy John Kearns of Armbar Audio. I can understand why, because Taz used to say, survive if I let you. That's awesome. I like that. Was a good touch. I think Brian Cage is a legit competitor for Jon Moxley's title. I still think Moxley is walking away with it, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. I think he's going to survive through the skin of his teeth and retain the title, but we'll get there when we get there. Just because she's injured doesn't mean she's not going to appear on your television screens and remind you that she's a dentist. We have a Britt Baker segment. She's rolled out in a wheelchair by Rebel, who she keeps calling her Reba or something like that. And it has the word role model, like, ROLL, role model, on the back of her wheelchair. I thought that was funny. I like that. And she basically has a conspiracy theory that her injury was planned by referee Aubrey Edwards. Cue the X-Files theme, I guess. I'm not going to do it because of copyrights. And she basically ends the segment by saying that she's going to be all good to go by All Out. So we're totally getting Britt Baker versus Aubrey Edwards, aren't we? No, I don't know. Perhaps. I'm not sure if Aubrey's going to wrestle, but if she does, that'd be cool. I'd like to see that maybe. I think this is interesting, a good way to utilize Britt Baker, despite the fact that she's injured. Perhaps a certain other company needs to take notes. Anyway, but this was good stuff, man. I loved this promo by Britt Baker. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Backstage, we did have the Inner Circle being interviewed, but Orange Cassidy interrupted, and that'll play into something a little bit later on. Up next, we have our new AEW Women's Champion, Hikaru Shida, in action against Christi Jaynes, who does a very sexy Brazilian dance. Call me. Very good match here. Good stuff and whatnot. Jaynes does get some licks in. She does a really good job bringing it to Shida, but Shida does eventually get her win back and hits a Falcon Arrow to win the match. Nothing to write home about here, but a good showing for Christi Jaynes nonetheless. I'm thinking that Chris Statlander is going to be next in line for Shida's title. Again, she may not win the title, but it's going to be a damn good match, and I cannot wait for their eventual showdown. Up next, our new and first ever AEW TNT champion, Cody, comes to cut a promo. He talks about how he has worked hard to get where he has to be, and he's not welcome in Connecticut. Haha, funny joke, whatever. And then he basically says that he is going to issue an open challenge after next week, and I suddenly could not see Cody anymore. But all joking aside, good promo here, very impassioned by Cody. He's good at promos, man. I don't have to say anything about Cody Rhodes. And I'm looking forward to see what they do with this whole open challenge thing. Apparently, the official title is gold and silver. I'll put a picture up here if I can find it. And it looks really good. It looks pretty good. It looks a little bit better than the all silver one. I would have made it look a little bit better. I wish it looked somewhat akin to the North American title that NXT has, because right now that is like my favorite title between both these brands. Of course, because the IWGP titles are the most beautiful ones, obviously, that I've seen so far, along with the World Heavyweight title. But I mean, I just wish it looked a little bit more akin to the North American title, as it is a mid-card title, right? And it is my favorite mid-card title right now is the North American title from NXT, and I wish they made it look somewhat akin to that. It would have been cool. It would just been cool. That's just me, but it is what it is. So looking forward to see the final title reveal sometime in the near future, I guess. Up next, Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian take on STU for a shot next week at the AEW Tag Team titles, which is weird because Best Friends are already slated to take on Kenny Omega and Hangman Page at some point. I'm guessing at either Fyter Fest or All Out. I'm thinking more Fyter Fest. So interesting that they're having a tag team match here for the titles. next week. Really good match. Really liked it. It made me more appreciative of SCU and their talents. Like these guys are not spring chickens by any stretch. But these two have amazing athleticism in the ring. SCU are finally going for the SCU later, but Penelope distracts them, allowing Sabian to roll up Scorpio Sky for the win. So next week we are getting Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. I really want Hangman Page to smash a beer bottle on Jimmy Havoc's head. I think that would be really, really cool. And now we have a battle royal for a shot at the TNT Championship next week. I'm not going to go through all the competitors, but one of the big stories here, MJF did cut a promo before the match started, and Wardlow tried to get a word in because he's also in there as MJF's insurance policy. He tries to get a word in, but MJF rudely cuts him off and walks off screen. Even though he says he's just kidding, he walks off screen, and Wardlow looks a little angry. And afterwards, we also had MJF putting on his Dynamite Diamond ring and accidentally punching out Wardlow. So I think there are some seeds of dissension being sown, and I don't know when it's going to come into fruition, but I'm going to be very happy when that happens. So that's going to be good. But Orange Cassidy did get beaten up by Santana and Ortiz before he could even get into the ring. But he and Jungle Boy are the last two entrants, fighting it out. Finally, it ends in victory for Jungle Boy. So next week, we do get him versus Cody for the AEW TNT Championship. That should be a good match. I'm really looking forward to it. And finally, we get what we've been building towards this whole episode, and that is the Inner Circle Pep Rally, which is a beautiful disaster, if I may say so myself. It was really good. I liked it. It was all complete with all these gorgeous cheerleaders. We had Vicky Guerrero coming out and announcing all 5 members of the Inner Circle, which was awesome. And they all give each other cheap gifts. Santana gives Ortiz like a sandwich. Sammy Guevara gets a scooter. Chris Jericho gives Jake Hager a pair of shoes. What are those? Jericho himself gets a picture of, I forgot who, but he gets a picture of somebody. It was funny. I liked it. They say they got a cheese platter and bubbly, but it's all gone. Who could have taken it away? Well, we'll get to that in just a sec. But Jericho does call out Mike Tyson, who he's still mad at for what he did to him 10 years ago on an episode of Monday Night Raw. He doesn't say Raw, but he says on Monday night. I mean, I could see he was kind of holding himself back. He wanted to say Monday Night Raw so bad. We do see that Mike Tyson is the one who stole all the bubbly and stole all the cheese platter and everything. He comes out and gets in Jericho's face, who demands an apology. Mike Tyson just rips off his shirt and flexes his muscles and everything like that. He looks good for his age, man. He looks really, really good. But they do have a pull-apart brawl to end the show. So it looks like we're building towards Mike Tyson versus Chris Jericho. That should be interesting. I don't know how they're going to go about. I don't know when that's going to happen. I'm thinking Fyter Fest. I was going to say the Jericho Cruise, but since that's not happening until next year, I think they're going to do it at Fyter Fest. That's the only logical place to have it at this point. So, we'll see. But yeah, overall, good segment and great way to end out the show. Now let's move on to NXT. So before we say anything, there's a crowd. Finally, oh my God. It's not a freaking hockey match here, you know what I mean? This was a good improvement by NXT, so kudos to them. But we do have our first match of the night, and that is Drake Maverick versus Kushida versus Jake Atlas to determine who will face El Hijo de Fantasma in the finals of the NXT Cruiserweight Tournament. Fantastic match. Great way to start out the show. Drake's arm is still kind of injured from his match with Kushida. Kushida does go for Drake Maverick throughout this match quite a bit. A little bit of animosity there. A lot of it does brew between the two throughout as the match goes off. Jake Atlas finally is put in the armbar because Kushida jumps on the top rope, grabs Jake Atlas' armbar, he wrenches it in, and Drake Maverick comes in and just puts his arm on Jake Atlas to steal the victory from Kushida. What a crafty way to get this win. Interesting that Drake Maverick is doing that. Seems like this wholesome guy who's just trying to, save his job, but he's going through all these very interesting kind of tactics. It's not very babyface of him, so we'll see what happens. And with the animosity between Drake and Kushida, I would fully expect a match between Kushida and Drake Maverick at some point. El Hijo Fantasma afterwards comes out, shakes Drake Maverick's hand and whatnot. All good stuff. Next week, both those men will be facing off, and I can't wait. This is going to be a damn good match. We now get the power couple of NXT. Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae come out. Johnny Gargano's theme has vocals now, so it makes it a much better affair. He announces the Johnny Gargano Invitational. Wow, a lot of open challenges this week. And it is answered by Adrian Alanis. He's not answered. He is the one who Johnny handpicks to face him. Johnny does make quick work of him as Alanis gets very little offense in. Quickly gets the Gargano escape on and has Alanis tap out. Alanis is then pushed out of the ring, and Mia Yim and Keith Lee appear on the Titantron, and they mock the the dinner promos by the Garganos, and that's pretty cool. They do the whole black and white thing with the flashlight. That was funny, man. I like this. Was very, very entertaining stuff. Tegan Knox comes in with pizza, from Gargano's Pizza, Johnny Gargano's dad's pizza place. So that was a lot of fun. I like this promo a lot. Later on, we do learn that we're going to get Mia Yim versus Candice LeRae next week. And most likely a takeover, we're going to have Johnny Gargano versus Keith Lee for the North American title. So those should be some very interesting matches. Next up, we do have Shotzi Blackheart taking on Raquel Gonzalez. I didn't care for the match itself as much as I did for the antics on the outside. At one point, we had Dakota Kai getting in Shotzi's tank and messing around with it, but Tegan Knox comes back in, that's twice today, and she knocks off Dakota Kai. She stays in Shotzi's corner. Candice LeRae comes in and basically gets in Tegan's face. This distracts everybody, and Gonzalez wins. I didn't care about this match at all. I don't understand why they keep jobbing out Shotzi Blackheart. Why? Why do you have to keep doing that? And that too, you keep having Raquel Gonzalez killing her every damn week. Now, look, I love all my Texas wrestlers. Like, awesome, shout out, hook 'em horns, whatever. Or if you're an A&M guy, don't hook 'em horns. I don't know, but Shotzi Blackheart is freaking gold, and you're doing nothing with her. She comes in in a damn tank. Like, use that. That is awesome. Why is she not have a freaking rocket strapped to her already? Well, okay, fine. I don't want her to be in the women's title picture yet, but why is she not doing something a little bit more substantial other than getting killed by Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez? Why? Can someone please explain to me why that's happening? She deserves more than this. Anyway, let's just go to the next match. I'm getting tired of this. And we stay on the women's division just for a little bit as Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai take on Charlotte Flair and a partner of her choosing. Now, before the match started, we did have Mauro Ranallo paying respects to Hana Kimura, which was awesome, so good touch there. I've said everything I've had to say about this whole situation. Please check my Twitter and my Instagram, and as a matter of fact, listen to the PDP podcast that I did, where I actually kind of went on a bit of a rant about the whole thing and social media and bullying. But at the end of the day, let's just all be more kind and more considerate to each other because we don't know what we're all going through. Charlotte Flair's partner is Chelsea Green, so really cool. Rhea wants nothing to do with Chelsea, and she just wants Charlotte. But it wasn't a bad match. Didn't really care much for it. That's why I didn't really talk a lot about the match itself. Pretty standard affair here and there. Heels being heels, faces being kind of faces, because Io Shirai is kind of more of a tweener at this point. Yeah, but it's cool. It's not nothing to write home about, but very serviceable match. But Charlotte does send Io onto Rhea and then pins Io with her feet on the ropes to win the match. So the champion still is not pinned. That makes sense, protecting your champion. But then again, it is Charlotte Flair, so okay, fine. I don't know. I'm a little concerned that they're gonna keep the title on Charlotte in the triple threat. again with Io and Rhea. So I really hope they don't do that. I hope they put the title on Io Shirai. They don't have to pin Charlotte. Just put the title on Io Shirai. She freaking deserves it. Please and thank you. Next up, we have Adam Cole Bebe negotiating with William Regal. He does not want Velveteen Dream anywhere near his title, but William Regal wants to give Dream that match. But Adam Cole says, fine, as long as if I win, Dream never gets to challenge for the NXT title again, as long as he's champion. William Regal agrees, and he says that he will find a location for both of them to wrestle in. That means we're getting a cinematic style match for Dream versus Cole. I am beyond excited for this because I am a huge lover of these cinematic style matches. I am guessing with every WWE pay-per-view here on out until this whole pandemic is over, I'm guessing we're getting at least one cinematic match per pay-per-view. So that should be really cool. I'm very, very excited. I actually hope even after this pandemic is over and this whole lockdown is lifted, we do get a few more cinematic matches, from WWE and from AEW, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, but I'm excited for this. Even more excited for it, actually. So that's cool. So, yeah, but with that, let's move on. Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch then are in a pub and they cut a promo and challenge Imperium for the NXT Tag Team titles. Decent stuff here. I don't think they're going to win, but it's going to be a damn good match. So there's that. Next up, we have Tommaso Ciampa taking on Leon Ruff. And Scarlett follows Ciampa into the ring as she's watching him. Basically, Ciampa kills Leon Ruff. But before he hits the fairy tale ending, he blows a kiss to Scarlett, who Beth Phoenix accidentally called her Charlotte. Okay. And but he hits the fairy tale ending and wins the match. Then we see Karrion Kross appearing on the screen. Well, more specifically, his eyes. But he is cutting a promo on Ciampa. It talks. My God. And it's a short but vicious promo. He ends it by saying tick-tock. And there's an eerie silence in the arena. Awesome stuff here. Honestly, I think the cinematic treatment should have gone to Karrion Kross versus Ciampa. Because I think that would be making a little bit more sense, as the aura between these two would be much more suited for a cinematic style match. But regardless, as long as we're getting one, I'm happy. And finally, we have our main event. We have Matt Riddle taking on Timothy Thatcher in a fight pit with Kurt Angle as special guest referee. Holy daddy, what a match this was. I suggest you just go watch it because it was fan-freaking-tastic. It's good stuff. I hope we get more of these matches. It is very much akin to the Lion's Den matches that they used to have with Ken Shamrock and whatnot. Riddle does start off hot in this match, and Thatcher does bleed early on and even has a couple of teeth fall out. I mean, his teeth weren't exactly in the best shape anyway, so I guess that makes sense. But it's a very brutal match. All the mat wrestling and rest hold city that you can ask for. The match does go to the upper level of the cage because there's 2 levels to the cage, which was really cool. I liked that whole setting. Finally, the match ended with Timothy Thatcher getting Matt Riddle in a rear naked choke, but Matt Riddle does escape momentarily, but Thatcher just comes in and puts it back on until Riddle passes out, having Thatcher be the victor. He celebrates while scowling at the camera. Apparently, there are rumors that Matt Riddle is going up to the main roster, so I'm kind of happy but not so happy about it, just because we know how the main roster functions. It's much more different. I do hope that we get some good matches, though, from him. I hope we see Matt Riddle versus Jeff Hardy, Matt Riddle versus Cesaro, Matt Riddle versus Shinsuke Nakamura, Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins, Apollo, Andrade, Austin Theory, Angel Garza, Humberto Carrillo even. You could make a lot of damn good matches. Daniel Bryan, oh my God, AJ Styles. Are you kidding me? Like, please, just give me at least one of these matches, WWE. Just one. That's all I want. Just one of these matches, and I will be happy. That's it. But overall, great stuff here. Really enjoyed this match a lot. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how we end up NXT. So overall, I think, first of all, both shows have absolutely found their groove once again now. I know they were rocked a little bit by this whole coronavirus and everything. They both kind of continue to do what they do best, and that is AEW does a great job of building up storylines and continuing existing storylines. NXT delivers some really good matches. So I will say that the wrestling itself was better on NXT, but the storytelling was a lot better on AEW. That's what I think as far as matches this week. On AEW, like I said, matches weren't as good as they were on NXT, but I guess I will give it to Matt Hardy and the Young Bucks versus Janela and Private Party. It had a lot more potential. I think it could have been better if Mark Quinn didn't injure himself, but of course, FTR making their debut was awesome in that whole affair. And I guess I'll give it to Christi, Jaynes, and Hikaru Shida, because Jaynes did do a very good have a very good showing in this match, so that was cool. As far as NXT is concerned, I'm going to say the triple threat match between Drake Maverick, Jake Atlas, and Kushida, as well as this fight pit match between Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher. If this is his swan song, then you know what? He went out in a great way. So thank you, Riddle, I guess. Good luck on the main roster. But that's pretty much it. Those are my matches of the night, and which show I thought was better, I guess. So that is it for this week's AEW and NXT. Let me know what you guys thought about both shows in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media, and tell your friends about the Nerdy Mark. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for your continued support. You guys take care of yourselves. Be safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.